You think I'm kidding about the
What's that?
You think I'm kidding about the reports? When I read that, they're going to be doing, they're going to ask department heads to do quarterly reports. I was like, shit, I love that. I would love that. Yeah. No, because
Just come do one on your last day. On your last
so
one.
much stuff that we do that no one knows about.
Oh no. Yeah.
You would want to be able to go. We fund that was true. Got this grant for it. You know,
Ordinance on
fire departments about
The only thing that's impacted is the rules and stuff.
Just what's on the agenda?
Just what went out to the public. It's a real thing. So
Good. Good.
You have a copy of that?
Good idea.
here it is right here. No, I have the ordinance has.
Oh, you're going to be sitting out there, right?
I understand.
Coming to all the council meetings. You'll be watching on YouTube. You know you will.
You guys ready? Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Present.
Councilor Fascio,
Present.
Councilman Waldron,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Present.
Councilman Crestis.
Present.
May I get a motion for item number 3, approval of the minutes?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the November 18th meeting.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Yes.
Councilman Crestis,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Minutes approved.
May I get a motion for item number 4, ratification of expenditures and reports?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Carestas.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the expenditures for, well, I think that should probably say November, huh? It says approve of September. I believe that should be November.
That's a clerical error
Yep.
on my part.
Sounds good. Approval of the November expenditures totaling $10,377,010.58.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I
second the motion with the correction.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any comment from the public?
Thank you, Your Honor. Greg Swachik, 648 Gramick Lane. I didn't have any comments last council meeting. This one, I have quite a few. There's 3 particular invoice items that I'd like to ask about. The first one is on page 10 of the invoice list, and it's for Gateway Engineers. There's 2 entries. It's the one for $16,543 and change. My recollection was that we approved coring of that area, I think 6 borings. And I think that was a different company. So I'm just wondering if that's this, or this is additional engineering involving interpretation of the borings and subsequent remediation, be it excavation or, you know, I'm wondering, you know, like Deputy Sapp does, you know, what is behind that? I think she asked very pertinent questions, so I want to beat her to the punch on this one. If the engineer could maybe comment, I would appreciate it.
I'm looking for the invoice now. Where is it?
On page 10, there's 2 invoices.
On page 10, there's 2 invoices that we're paying. The larger of the 2 is $16,543, and it's identified as Old William Penn landslide ENG. So it's cost related to the landslide, but without having the all the detail
Right.
in front of me here, I wouldn't be able to know what we know that it's related to the project, but as to whether it was for the geotechnical drilling, I don't know that we're going to be able to tell that right from here.
What's the date? As soon as I find the date, I can see.
The end of October.
10/24.
October 24th.
Yeah, I don't think that is the driller. I think the driller came later. So I think those are engineering services, maybe to inspect the drilling and then to log the soil cores that were collected. But the invoice for the driller itself did not come till after. So I believe that is the engineering work associated with oversight of the drilling.
And just so everyone's clear, behind every one of these invoices is actually a piece of paper across the hull that has a detailed itemization of the services. So what I can do for you is tomorrow morning at the earliest, I could provide you with that. You could review it here free of charge. If you want a copy of it, it would be 25 cents a page. But I could do that at the end of the meeting. It would be ready for you to pick up or review. There's an invoice that goes with that gives an itemization that might be exactly as he said, but we don't have all of that detail here. So it gets distilled into the invoice, who's being paid, a general description, and then the date.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is the coring itself. It was a different company than Gateway. So does Gateway sub it and bill it as Gateway? Or do we see a separate invoice from that company and Gateway uses the data?
I would defer to him on that. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Mr. Swaczek, I think that you and Mr. Minsterman are both correct. And having said that, whatever that invoice cost, I mean, I don't know if you agree with me or not, or if council wants to weigh in. I don't think he should be charged 25 cents because I think your recollection is correct, and I think that's what Mr. Minsterman is saying, that there was another company for the geo.
So is this the payment that you approved before for the drilling? That's what you approved last time for the drilling. This is a Gateway bill, and I'm wondering, are they one and the same, or is this a Gateway billing above and beyond the cost incurred for the drilling itself?
So the manager just leaned over and said to me that you can come in, anybody can come in and view this for free.
Okay, well, that's fine. If we don't have recollection of that.
It sounded like it's a separate bill. It sounded to me like the engineer answered the question and said that the person that performed the geotechnical services, that was a separate company, that they didn't, they're not a pass-through for us.
Right, and then my question was then, what was this for, basically, with Deputy Mayor Sapp inquires on a regular basis?
I can answer what it is, and he gave an explanation of what it's likely to be based on his recollection. We know it's for the old William Penn Highway landslide engineering, but again, tomorrow morning.
That Gateway performed.
Correct, and you could view the invoice. You could review it for free. It's here, available. Make it available.
Well, if I think it's necessary to see the details, I will, and I appreciate that offer. Thank you, sir. Along those lines, okay, back in February in the Penn Hills Progress, dealing with Gateway engineers, was Penn Hills likely to replace engineer despite delays? What I'm trying to do is find out, because the mayor put that on hold because of two new council members.
Before you get too far, I just want to say that this comment period right here, it's only for comments pertaining directly to the bills on this page.
Okay, I'll put it on a 3-minute non-agenda next time. I thought we could just buzz it off now. I just want to know if we have a municipal engineer, who it is, and whether he's on Gateway's payroll or...
Those are all things that aren't pertaining directly to this bill.
Okay, we'll wait till next meeting.
That would be the best.
Okay, sir, thank you. The second invoice is for Craig H. Alexander on page 17. I notice usually when we have solicitor services, it's billed as Bruce Dyson Associates or Dyson Associates. So I'm just wondering if these invoices, this compilation, is really, you know, is Bruce Dice being paid and Craig Alexander still working for them, or subsequent to invoices reflecting that, did Craig Alexander independently make an arrangement with Penn Hills to act as our solicitor, not formally as a Bruce Dice employee? Because I see a difference here, and that's all I am trying to find out.
Want me to answer that? Sure. Mr. Swatchik, I'm no longer with Bruce Dyson Associates. I went out on my own on July 1st.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Thank
It's
you.
good to
So
know.
that's why the bills come to my law office now.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I'll look you up as a client sometime. Good to know.
Thank you.
That resolves my conflict with the school district having the same solicitor. Even though you would recuse yourself, you still give executive private advice to both entities. Okay, and the third invoice that I had the question on was page 32. This is an easy one. It's only for $100, Penn Hill School District, for, I think it says, passing out Halloween candy. I know the mayor emphasizes all the time how the school district is a separate entity from the municipality. There can be times, I'm sure, where we commingle funds. This is a clear indication that the municipality paid the school district, albeit $100. I'm just interested in the principle of the thing as to, as Deputy Mayor Sapp, maybe I'll beat her to the punch again and just say, what was that for? I know it was Halloween and the kids get candy, but in as much as we paid the school district and they're two separate entities, what was this for?
What I'm going to suggest to you is that sitting here, I don't know exactly the mechanics of what happened. I know that there is a Halloween activity, and I know that the school has one too. So apparently this was us paying the school district $100 for an activity that was Halloween related. But again, I would have to go and actually look at the accompanying document that came with it. If our recreation director was here, I'm going to assume he would probably have a better answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
It's $100 related to that activity. And
I
again,
appreciate that. Ask and answer.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and my suggestion is, Mr. Swatchek, as I said, with the first question, the invoice that the $16,500 invoice for Gateway, that's available to review free of charge. And then there's something, there's
We've
paperwork
covered
that
that.
goes
Let's
with that.
save
So
time.
at the same
Andrzejczyk,
time,
I'm
we could give you that too.
Yeah, we've covered. You're repeating yourself. To ask and
Mr.
answer.
Andrzejczyk, excuse me, I'm going to interrupt both of you if you don't mind. This is the portion for public comment, and I don't want to go too far astray. We're happy to answer any of your questions.
Yeah, I just had
Anybody-
three entries
you
in
can
the
have
big
three
invoice,
comments.
and
Okay.
I just wanted to know what the $100 was for.
Okay.
And it says it's for candy. And
Okay.
I just wanted to
You're free to come
know.
up anytime you want, and we can go over all of this. That'll be great.
Well, maybe if Sherry was here, I think that's our controller's name, she may know just like that. She's usually here.
Mr. Swatchek, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any further public comment? Any comment from council?
Mayor, I'd like to just make a comment.
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Swatchik. You made my job a lot easier at the end.
May I get a motion for, I'm sorry, at this point, any comment from council?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Yes.
Councilman Crestus,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio.
Yes.
Expenses approved.
With there being no sign up for public comment on non-agenda items, we move to number 6. May I get a motion for resolution numbers, for item number 6?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Waldron.
I make a motion to approve item 6A, Resolution 2024-55, requesting a statewide local share grant in the amount of $406,956 to be used for improvements at Universal Park.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public?
Thank you again, Mayor. Greg Swatchik, 648 Gramick Lane. I'll use 6A to ask about B and C and everything else, if I may, so I don't have to keep coming up. I just noticed on the internet, and it could be terminology that I don't understand or the public, but they're called ratifications, the first three, A, B, C. Then we get the resolutions. And I noticed that the ratifications on the internet are already signed, I believe by you and the mayor. I guess that means they're legally approved and binding, and the resolutions still have just regular lines, awaiting a signature pending a voting event here with you tonight. So I'd like a distinction for the public, should they have been signed prior to?
I think I can answer the question.
Okay, and I apologize if it's me not understanding ratification versus resolution. Thank you.
It's going to lead to almost, okay, we'll go to the next. Any further public comment? Any comment from council? May I get a motion for item 6A?
Get to vote on that.
We need to vote on that, Mayor.
Oh, okay. What I would like to do, though, just so that we are, because this is just to call for a roll call vote at this time, I will let the manager explain the ratification process, and that we'll do is we would just do a roll call vote.
Thank you, Mayor. You might have noticed what the speaker commented on. Sometimes from time to time, you'll see that we're ratifying an item, whereas some of the other times it's being approved. Because of a time constraint on which grant applications had to be submitted to Harrisburg for funding, and because of our meeting schedule, we have the ability to approve a resolution and then bring it to the board for ratification later. We only really do that in rather, I don't want to say extreme, but we don't do that in commonly. Commonly, everything's approved, but where there's a deadline, especially for funding, in order to get the package to Harrisburg, the mayor and I sign the resolution, and council is informed of it, and then there's a ratification vote, so there's a public vote on the item. So those items have the same legal standing as do the ones that are approved. Correct, Solicitor?
Yes, that's exactly correct. Basically, you pull the board to get their approval ahead of time because of emergency circumstances, and then under the case law, you're required to ratify that action in order to comply with the Sunshine Law.
So I'll go through each one individually just by roll call. May I get a roll call on 6A, please?
Deputy Mayor Sapp?
Yes.
Councilman Crestus?
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Waldron?
Yes.
6A approved?
May I get a roll call?
Before we go on to B, I believe that Mr. Waldron's motion was just for letter A. So we could amend that to include letters A through E, Mr. Waldron? To do them all at once?
A,
Is
B, and C.
that right?
May I
A, B, and C.
interrupt? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think we don't want to include D in that.
Okay, A, B, C, and E. We're good.
No, I believe
think
it's
it's just
A, B, and C.
A, B, and C?
Yeah.
Right, A, B, and C, no E, no D and E.
Mr. Waldron, will you amend your motion to move A, B, and C in?
Yes, I can amend that.
And then who seconded that?
Second.
Okay. Now we can do all of them together, B and C.
Okay, can we get a roll call vote on 6B, please? And 6C?
It would be for A, B, and C, correct?
We already did A, so we're doing B and C now.
And certainly, if anybody doesn't want to approve any one of these, they can vote with the exception of a particular letter, correct?
Correct.
Okay. No, we already have a motion and we already have a second, so at this point, I believe we're up to the roll call
Okay.
vote for B and C.
Councilman Crestus?
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Waldron?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp?
Yes.
Items B and C approved?
Well, so to be clear, items A, B, and C, 6A, B, and C have all been approved.
Unanimously.
Okay, thank you. May I get a motion to table item 6D?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion that we table Resolution 2024-58.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second the motion.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Waldron?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp?
Yes.
Councilman Crestus,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Item 6D is tabled.
May I get a motion for item 6E?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Crestus.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6E, Resolution 2024-59, approving a minor budget amendments to the Community Development Block Grant budget for fiscal year 2022.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Before we move further, could we get a brief description of what the minor amendment is?
Yes, we have a minor, this is really a housekeeping item where we have a minor amendment to the line of credit for this particular year 2022. So I've added it in. I've asked you to pass a resolution to increase the line of credit for, or the budget for the fiscal year 2022 CDBG funds. And we're putting it into rehab, single-family rehab. Mega's been doing an outstanding job with rehab loans. This is maybe the second or third time that you've added money to the rehab program, and we're still short. We have a large amount of, a larger amount of rehab loan requests than in previous years, and we're trying to meet those needs. I think Meg has several families on a waiting list. And we're actually having to turn people away. We're saying you're going to have to wait till the 2025, which comes funding, which won't come till July.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? I find this to be a really exciting move because, as I've said 1,000 times, our tax base is our homeowners, and we want people to move here, we want people to stay here, and we want to, this is a step toward fighting blight, and it's also a step towards generational wealth. We want to help people rehab. Roll call, please.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Yes.
Councilman Crestus,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Councilor Fascio.
Yes.
6E approved.
May I get a motion for item 6F?
Mayor,
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 6F, 2024-60, awarding the Penn Hills Miscellaneous Mechanical Contract to McRandall Company Incorporated in the amount of $235,475 and approving standard rates for 2025 and 2026.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Sapp,
Yes.
Councilman Crestus,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron.
Yes.
Item 6F approved.
May I get a motion to table item 6G?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion that we table Resolution 2024-61, defining council meeting agenda structure.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any roll call, please?
Councilman Crestus,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Waldron,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp.
Yes.
Item 6G tabled.
May I get a motion for item 6H?
Mayor,
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 6H, approval of the 2025 budget and tax ordinance, in parentheses, 6.944 mils.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public?
Thanks again, Mayor. I promise this is the last time this evening. I want to just straighten out the record. 2 meetings ago on the agenda, when I referred to your letter in the newspaper, and I brought it with me here, and what I was referring to is that you caught everything, you know. It was very comprehensive, inclusive, and so on, and I even used the word cuts. And what you said here is, quote, "I think we need small incremental increases, but we also need to look at tightening our belts." So I looked up what tightening your belts means. It's an idiom. Well, no, you say we have to literally be careful, and when you were running for mayor, you said it's so important. You like a lot of the ideas, but you wanted to clean up the verbiage a little bit, which is good, because when lawyers get a hold of it, we need to have the courts to be real clear what a verdict should be. So by and large, it does mean efficiency, reaping more out of less, and so on. And I think that's the context that you meant. But you made it known to the public that that was the context. But unlike Councilman Waldron one time, when he just simply wasn't aware of the Home Rule Charter and didn't realize you had the authority, power, and control to appoint somebody, he came back and acknowledged and recognized that. Thumbs up to him. It's
Mr. Swatchik, if I could just redirect you to the item that's being
yeah,
considered.
so unlike that, I want to make sure that it's clear here tonight that when I referred to your letter and took the context of cuts from belt tightening, I did research it today infinitum, and there is an application where cuts can be interpreted as job cuts. So it is an all-inclusive term, and I'm glad that you segregated that particular interpretation for the public after I cited your letter. And now, just on a positive note, as I leave here tonight, I wondered where this came from, and it was in the Great Depression when people couldn't afford food. Instead of their pants falling down, they tightened their belts.
Swatchik, but you're veering off of the topic quite
okay.
a bit. This item is just the ordinance before you.
Yeah, well,
but you're giving a lot of commentary that isn't directly pertaining to that ordinance. I'm sorry.
Okay,
so it's a little off topic.
The budget and the ordinance had multiple meetings by law, as you know. So since it's already in the record, I'm doing this as an extension of a couple meetings ago for simple clarity. That's all. That's the linkage, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Richard Thomas, 269 Hazel. Just asking for clarification on legal terms you've been using tonight and what exactly 6H is referring to. Thank you.
You want me to?
Terms such as table, and if our budget's changing, what's it changing from, what's it going to, reasons, etc.
So every year, the municipality is required to enact or pass a budget to fund everything that occurs here in the municipality. In conjunction with that budget, they're required to pass a tax ordinance which levies taxes on the property here in the municipality in order to fund the budget which pays for the stuff that the municipality does. I don't know what the millage was last year and what it is. It's obviously 6.944 mills this year. Manager Andrasik might be able to say what it was last year. Did you have another question on what tabling means? Did I hear you say that?
Correct. You're saying you are tabling items?
So what
does that mean?
So what it means to table something is not to act upon it now, but to table it for another date in the future, whether it be the next regularly scheduled meeting or some meeting after that. You can remove it from the table and then vote on it at that time. So there's no vote on that issue tonight.
Any further comment from the public? Any comment from council? Councilor Fascia?
Yes, thank you. Just wanted to briefly state that I hope it's obvious everyone here on this board has wrestled with both the budget and the proposed tax increase. We're taxpayers too, and I go back to what the mayor often cites. It's like running a household budget. We all know that we've all experienced increases in the cost of just about everything over the past 3 years. We were extremely fortunate to get the stimulus funding, which I believe we used pretty smartly to further some improvements. We increased the police force, and not only did that provide for better civil protection, but we've been able to attack the police overtime. Not as much as I'd like, but we've made inroads. Probably paved more streets than we have, not enough, and maybe not yours, but more than we had in the prior 3 years. We've done some preventative maintenance, but maybe the most important thing was we righted our financial ship. Because prior to that, we had been funding an ongoing deficit through the use of our fund balance. Not only, and I take no personal credit, if there's credit, it's our manager and our staff. But we have rebuilt that fund balance to a very respectable amount. Not only does that give us some financial security, but improved our bond ratings, which will have impact in any future financing. That being said, the stimulus is gone. And now we're looking at, unfortunately, a tax increase. We've discussed up one side and down the other. Started with the recommendation of a $2 million increase to tonight we're proposing a $500,000. That's not negligible depending on the value of your real estate. That can be anywhere from $5 to $25 a month. And understanding that we have a lot of low-wage income residents. We have people on Social Security, which is probably going up an average of about $30 a month. And looking at the counties increasing their millage, and Alcosan's increase. Understanding all of this, I do believe that the $500,000 represents a responsible effort to continue to stabilize our finances, and rest assured that we will not kind of sit pat with that. We continue to work with the manager and staff for any way that we can minimize expenses going forward. Just wanted to offer a little bit of an explanation as to why I'm going to be supporting this budget and millage increase. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comment from council?
Mayor,
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
I'd like to make a few comments as well. First of all, I want to commend Councilman Carestas for his efforts of putting graphs together and having the willingness to sit down and take it upon himself to figure out a way to keep Penn Hills out of a much larger deficit. Penn Hills residents, taxpayers, we ought to thank God for the stimulus money because it definitely kept us from a larger deficit, that's for sure. However, I will be voting no to the tax increase this evening. I know that it is inevitable. We are definitely going to, in the future, have to move forward into having a tax increase because we want to keep the services that Penn Hills offers. We're one of the few municipalities that offers all of the services that we offer that's included in our taxes. I would like to say because of the increase in Elka Sand and because of the increases of other things that are coming before us and the uncertainties that will be happening with our new administration in Washington, D.C., I am not going to be voting this evening for a tax increase for Penn Hills, but looking forward to us preparing to adjust ourselves for 2026 for a tax increase because it is inevitable. We are going to have to eventually have one. I'm not against having one, just not this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment from council?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So, as you've noticed over the last few weeks, I've had numerous graphs and ran probably about 9 to 11 different millage rate options over the next 3 years to try to find that sweet spot for us to both remain fiscally responsible, but also not have too much of a burden on the residents. And having done that, I found myself in a position for the last week helping to negotiate and find a budget that'll work for a majority. And I could tell you from my conversations with every elected official up here, there isn't a single person that does not have the best interest of our municipality or the public in mind. Those that feel a tax increase isn't necessary right now, that's a perfectly fine way of thinking. That's respectable. The same with those that feel an incremental approach is the right move forward. Personally, I fall in the lines of the latter. I do believe it's responsible for us to have an incremental approach. The truth is we have to eventually get to 2 mills over the next few years. And the strategic plan that we're putting forward is a 5.5 mil increase this year and likely a 0.75 next year, just so everybody knows what's coming down the road. I always said I'll be straight with the public. With that said, though, I do want to thank everybody for your cooperation. The good news is we were able to both find a reasonable increase while also trying to meet some of the needs of the individuals and organizations that came looking for funding. So I'm happy to say to our firefighters here, we are able to allocate funding to repave the fire training academy for you folks. The same with the library, which is one of our most important institutions in the community. We're able to give them a boost in funding that they requested. There probably isn't an organization that so much of the community uses on a day-to-day basis that makes every dollar stretch so much like the library. So very happy to try to help and negotiate that across the finish line. But in closing, I just want to once again repeat, everybody up here cares about the community, cares about us being fiscally responsible, and also cares about the effect of such an increase on your wallets and our own. We are one community here, and we're making choices as a resident as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to say that when you come to these meetings, they look rather formal, and I know when I was sitting where you're sitting, I thought, boy, that's pretty stilted. Why do they do it like this? But this is the form that we have to do it in, and I can tell you that you don't see what happens behind the scenes, but regardless of any time that we scrap over anything, I can tell you that everybody up here worked very, very hard on this. We've been doing this for months now, and I will be voting no to the tax increase as well. That is just a philosophical difference that I have with my colleagues up here. As Councilor Fascio said, I often compare this to my household budget. I have 5 kids. They're in their 20s now, thank goodness, but I used to say things to them. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying no, not now. So I realize that costs go up, but I do not think that now is the time. Unlike Councilor Fascio, I will take personal credit for what we did with the stimulus money. She was not on council at the time, but we really battled back and forth with that money. And it ended up that we did use it wisely, and then when she was on council again, we continued in that vein. I'm very, very proud of where Penn Hills has come in the past 6 years. We were headed toward bankruptcy. We now are ending this year with, I believe, about $13 million in our fund balance. Our bond rating has gone to an A+. I think that's huge. I feel that we are very financially sound right now. But when I take a look at this budget and I look at the situation we're in right now, we are not on an island. Our residents have to deal with the huge county tax increase that they just voted on. They have to deal with the school district. Alcosan is coming down the pike. We have no control over all of these other taxing bodies and all these other entities. We don't know what will happen federally with the new administration coming in. So my answer tonight is no, not now. I don't think now is the time. As I said, the only hill I wanted to die on was the firefighters. I do think that when we look at this, we have got to deal with, when I said we have to tighten our belts, I want to be abundantly clear. I didn't mean any cuts whatsoever. I never said that. I never defined it as that. I just mean that if we're going to spend money or increase, we need to increase it to where it's absolutely essential, and that's our firefighters, because they're not asking for something frivolous. So, again, as I say, my hat's off to everyone up here, because everybody here worked very, very hard. We simply have a philosophical difference, so I will be voting no tonight as well.
Mayor, I'd like to speak if I could.
We're past council comments, but I will go off the grid on this one because it's such a big night.
Well, you skipped over me, unfortunately.
Pardon me? Yes.
Well, you skipped over me, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry. When I
Yeah.
looked down, I said, do you have any comments? I thought you didn't. Okay.
No, I didn't say no.
Okay, feel free.
Real briefly, I just want to, second pretty much every sentiment that Councilman Crest has brought up. And for me, it's, we're going to have to raise taxes here either this year or next year. So if we don't raise taxes a little bit this year, then we're going to have to raise taxes probably a lot next year. And personally, I feel that an incremental raise this year and next year is preferable to a larger raise next year. So that's why I'm backing the tax increase this year.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Mayor, I apologize. May I inject one other thing?
Absolutely. This is a big, I just want to note for people that we're going off the regular protocol here, but that's fine because this is a huge meeting tonight.
Yes, this is a big deal. I did commend Councilman Carestas, but I did not give I didn't say thank you to the rest of council who did work so diligently on the budget, and we did go back and forth a lot. So I didn't mean to exclude you in giving councilmen, but we've just never had someone, in the time that I've been seated here since 2016, we never had a council person take the time to make such a grid. And so I just want to say thank you to the rest of the council because we did go round and round, and we are all residents here, so what affects you guys affects us as well. So thank you to the rest of the council as well.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese?
No.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Waldron?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sapp?
No.
Councilman Crestas?
Yes.
Item 6H approved.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is the part that we normally would introduce new ordinances that are going to be coming before council. Soon, probably in January or February, the mayor and council are going to be asked to consider changes to the civil service rules at Penn Hills. And we might not have seen this on our agendas lately because typically they don't often change. But because state laws change as it pertains to police hiring and promotional exams, we have to react to that and update those rules. So in the packet for the public's review is the suggested updates to the civil service rules. Last week, the Personnel Commission met and they recommended these changes. The assistant manager and human resources director and I have been working on this. I think our solicitor could probably shed more light on what the updates are if there's questions from council to that effect. But the ordinance is not in the packet because it'll be drafted. The intent was to put the rules out into the open so that the public could see what they are, because they're going to be coming as we go into next year, as we get ready for our next round of police testing. There's things that pertain to cadets. We have that now because we're sending folks to the police academy in some cases. All of those things have to be incorporated into the rules as well. So that's something that isn't being considered for a vote tonight, but it's something that the mayor and council will be asked to consider probably in January or February, as it were.
Thank you. I think Manager Andrzejczyk summed it up very well. In Penn Hills, because we're a home rule charter, the civil service rules and regulations are actually called the Personnel Board rules and regulations. Are the exact same thing, but Penn Hills is governed by a personnel board, where non-home rule charter communities are governed by a civil service commission. There's no difference. It's just a difference in the name, because that's what the folks who drew up the home rule charter called it. And every now and again, because of changes in the law or because there's changes within thought processes here in the municipality, that the civil service rules, the personnel board rules, need to be updated. And there have been certain changes in the law. For instance, our current rules and regulations provides veterans preference upon promotions, promotional examinations here in the municipality. The courts have overruled, determined that veterans preference in promotional examinations was unconstitutional. So that's been something that was taken out of our rules and regulations. So they've been completely updated to comply with the current law. As Manager Andrzejczyk said, there's also things that have been inserted into the rules and regulations, like a definition for cadet. A cadet is somebody that's graduated from the police academy but hasn't obtained their Act 120 certification. So they're not certified to be a police officer. The municipality, under our new rules and regulations, is able to hire that police officer, and as they continue towards their Act 120 certification, they'll pay for that, and then upon graduation and obtaining that Act 120 certification, become a full-fledged officer of the municipality. When I say full-fledged officer, I mean at the first step, probationary officer, and then continue on through their period. That's all these rules and regulations do. The Personnel Board has to recommend new changes to Mayor and Council, and that's what they've done. And now Mayor and Council has to review the rules and regulations, and they'll pass an ordinance if they're in favor of them, enacting the new rules and regulations and sending them back to the Personnel Board.
Thank you, Solicitor.
I'm not sure there's much more to say, but the next item is council comments.
Get the vote. Get the vote on that.
Deputy Mayor Sapp, do you have any comments?
Well, I'd just like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, stay safe, enjoy your family, your friends, and make memories.
Thank you. Councilor Fascio.
I'd like to echo those remarks, and everybody enjoy, party, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Crestis.
No, nothing else tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Waldron.
Yeah, since this is our last council meeting of my first year on council, I just want to thank everybody up here, from planning director to the engineers to Scott and Craig and the rest of the council, just for you get on council, you come in, you know some things, you don't know some things, but when you don't know some things. I know everybody here has been extremely helpful in helping me and Sean, I think I can speak for Sean, getting ramped up on things, and it's been a fun and interesting first year on council. So thank you all.
So on behalf of the entire municipality of Penn Hills and the administration, I'd like to say to everyone here, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year, and have a very good evening. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
You gotta say something nice to end the year.
Ronnie, you saw it?
I'm trying to. Let's get some work done tonight,
Is that a yes?
Good times, fun times. They all go fast now. Yeah.